What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with another video. Today we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks basically getting Richard Jefferson and Felder, a guy that they picked late in a draft a couple years ago. He's a small guard. He played solid, not great in summer league. He doesn't really get that much minutes unless it's garbage time minutes. When he plays for the Cavs, he's a guy that may or may not be in the NBA after this move. Same with Richard Jefferson. Richard Jefferson said he wanted to retire a couple years ago when they won the championship, and then now that he's been moved, it would save them $12.8 in luxury tax and then just business. And the NBA, yes, it is fun. Yes, you're playing basketball for a living. Yes, you're enjoying the time that you spend with your teammates in the organization, and you start to feel like it's family. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. And Richard Jefferson, he wanted to retire, but the Cavs fans said bring him back at least 2 more years. He came back. He played last year. They got embarrassed in the finals besides the last 3 games. And now he's gone just because they had to make a business decision for the luxury tax purposes and for roster spots. I know they only can have 15 players on the roster, but with him and Felder gone, they sent an extra $3 million. But the thing I want to talk about the most is the second round draft picks. That's a lot to me because yes, you're desperate to get rid of these contracts so you can still save money from the luxury tax, and you want to be able to use a roster spot for Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, and them people to stay on your roster because somebody was gonna have to go, and Richard Jefferson and Felder were basically the players that they was willing to get rid of to keep this type of roster intact, and this roster should be good enough for them to get to the NBA Finals coming out the Eastern Conference. But I wanted to talk about the second round picks because they gave up a little bit too much to settle those. I mean, to shred those contracts. And the Hawks, they're fine because they're in a rebuilding stage. They're like, we got to get picks anywhere we can. We have roster spots. We're going to take Richard Jefferson, Felder. They're not even going to play a game for us, and they might not even be in the NBA after this. And we're just going to waive them, take the $3 million, and we get 2 second-round picks. We're trying to build around Dennis Schroeder. They paid him the money. He showed that he can be a player that can help you win in the playoffs. He had great games against John Wall, and he actually was more efficient than we thought because we called John Wall an elite point guard defender up there with Chris Paul. Not as good as Chris Paul, but he's coming to that level defensively, especially in the hardest position right now is the point guard position. He's able to guard that very well. And then the Schroeder played his game. He stayed true to who he is. He went out there and had fun playing against John Wall, competing against him. Even though they did lose in 6, Dennis Schroeder put up great stats and he was able to win a couple games. But he has now, they said this is the guy we got to keep. They let Tim Hardaway Jr. go too. Paul Millsap is gone. Al Horford is gone. And now they have to build around this guy, and 2 second-round picks, if they can hit on him, could be huge. You do have the Draymonds. You do have the Isaiah Thomases. You have the Manu Ginobili's, and you probably can trade those picks and move up in the draft if you can add a first-round pick. So we don't know how this is going to play out. 1 draft pick in 2020, I believe, 1 in 2019. And like I said, they're going to lose a lot this year. Even if they win, they're going to still want those second-round picks. And those picks can either be bust, be what they call it, draft and stash, when you just draft a player from overseas and stash them. If they come over, they come over. If they don't, they don't. But they really trying to hit on these picks. And like I said about Brooklyn, they're trying to find a way to accumulate picks so they can rebuild or find that franchise guy or that player that has potential to be that, and help that with Dennis Schroeder if they want to keep him in the future, or at the end of the day, just use them to get other assets because they're assets themselves. I think the Cavaliers, the problem I have with the trade for them is now they're putting themselves in a hole these last couple of years, even with the Mozgov trade, where they're trading they're trading away their future. But you said, Quinn, that's what you're supposed to do if you're a championship contender and you know you're going to be in the finals as long as you got LeBron. you're gonna be in the hunt for a championship, and that's the problem I have. I don't know if LeBron gonna stay. He said he's gonna stay, but he said that last time, and then he went to Miami, and I don't really know how long this Cleveland team is going to be a contender. Kevin Love is injured a lot, and he had major injuries, and he's getting older. LeBron is not getting any younger. They don't really have no young talent that blows my mind that's going to help take care of him in his later stages. Because LeBron James, he's a freak athlete. He's a freak player, but he only can do so much, and he only can accomplish so much because great teams can beat a great player. And right now, he has solid role players. He has the shooters. He has solid players now, but we don't know how this team going to be in the future. And on top of that, if LeBron does choose to leave, you just gave up 2 picks, even though it was a second-round pick, but you just gave up 2 picks just to shred salary just so you can keep 13, 12 players on your roster. Well, it was over anyway, but you just literally traded 2 second-round picks just to shred salary. So it is kind of funny that they would do that, especially when they don't know if LeBron is going to stay for sure. And then if they do have to rebuild, they don't have Kyrie anymore. They don't have Wiggins. They ain't going to have the picks to, even their first round picks are traded. So it's like they ain't going to have no option but LeBron or bust. We got to keep LeBron at all costs unless we're going to be rebuilding with not that many picks. Same thing happened to the Nets where they traded for Brook Lopez. They traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. They traded for them, and then they gave away all their first-round picks, majority of their second-round picks to compete for a championship. They never even got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they was in a position like they are now where they have to try out D'Angelo Russell. They have to take a contract like DeMarre Carroll just to get second-round and low first-round picks, which is low chances of hitting and getting a superstar, and that's not where you want to be. I know you want to compete for a championship. I know you want to go all in, but you have to watch. Like, they should have knew this before they was going into this season that some of these people not going to make the roster. Let's not overpay. Let's not overload the roster. They end up doing it anyway, and now they just gave up 2 second-round picks and don't even have a guaranteed superstar for the next 5 years because LeBron can retire or he can just leave, and now they're going to be out of first and second round picks just to compete for a championship. But you know that it's not a guarantee, so you should at least keep them or just try to trade Richard Jefferson to a team that's willing to buy him out like the Hawks. But they only say, hey, we'll buy him out, but you got to give us 2 second-round picks, which is smart for the Hawks because now they can try to hit on some superstar players or some quality players with those second-round picks, even though they separate years. But I just want to mention this don't really matter. The Cavaliers, they also was able to get, let me see. They was able to get 2 players that was overseas. Demetrios, I'm not going to say his name, a DA guy, and Sergi Gladiator. I think they send them to Cleveland. Like, those are drafting staff. They're going to come over when they want to. Some might come over, some might not. And if that happens, then they will have players in the future that come, but they'll be older and they'll be young, old rookies that can contribute as a role player. Or it is basically 2 players that's going to be role players in the future, or they're going to be old. So, and they might not even come over anyway. So they just getting a draft right. So if they want to come over, they got the rights for them, for that team, which could help them in the future if they still a contender. But right now it don't really matter. It's about this season, and the roster that they have is not good enough to beat the Warriors or the Spurs, to me. And also the Hawks, I like the move for them because they're getting rid of Jefferson. They're getting rid of K. Felder anyway. And they're going to get $3 million plus 2 second-round picks. And not only that, they can have a brighter future potentially if they can continue to use their roster space to acquire picks and still get quality players in return. And then they get rid of their draft and stash players that they might not even need or want anyway because it took so long to get them. So check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Click the link and send you to my website. Sign up, become a user, and click the link to my Facebook page. Just like the show support. Quinn Wade Basketball Announcer signing out. I want to do the scoring champion tomorrow. I want to predict who's going to be the scoring champion tomorrow. And NBA season start today. Hope you guys enjoy it.